I hope that you guys are all doing well tonight. I am doing great. It is so nice to have you here with me. I am coming to you from a different location this evening. I am at my daughter Maddie's house. She lives in Hazel Park, Michigan, which is about 10 minutes outside of the city of Detroit. So, we just say Detroit when when we're around here. Her room is she has a hardwood floor and kind of high ceilings, and it's the layout of her house is a little bit open. Kind of the living room flows into the dining room, flows into the kitchen. It's just all one big room. So it's a little bit echoey in here, and there's not much I can really do to control that. So I apologize for my acoustics if they're going to be a little bit annoying, and but there's like I said, there's nothing really I can do to fix that. I'm gonna adjust my camera a little bit. I'm also at a little bit of an odd camera angle. She doesn't have a dining room table that I can diamond paint at. She has kind of like one of those like bar tables, bar height tables, and it's very small because it's just the two of them in the house. They don't need, a big dining room table. So it's not big enough for me to even put a big diamond painting on. So I'm on the coffee table in the living room. And they have kind of an interesting coffee table. It's very big, and the top of it raises up and comes towards you. It like pivots up, goes whoop. So it's really neat, but it's a little wobbly. So I apologize for that in advance too. I'll try to be as unwobbly as I possibly can. But this was the best setup I could come up with. I didn't want to miss out on you guys tonight because a kind of interesting story. Tonight's my second night here at Maddie's house, technically, but it is she's not home, so I'm here home alone with the dog and the two cats. So we might hang out. I don't know how long I'll hang out, but it might be a lot longer than normal if I'm lonely, and I want to just stay on. I might just hang out with you guys all night. No, not all night, because I do have to go pick her up at some point. Let me go ahead and just say hi to everybody that's here. Also, one thing that's going to be a little bit different tonight is I usually have my big old iPad to be able to look at the comments on, to look at chat, and I don't because I don't have two devices. So I'm going to be reading comments off my phone. So that's going to be a little bit different. And Joe is the first one here. Hi, Joe. How you doing? Judy's here. Hello, Jody. Hi, Jody. I owe you a text. Oh, Joe, this painting. Okay. There's a story behind that. When we talked last week, you guys all voted on which pinson I should do for Chuck Along, and it was between Vibrant Italy and Winter's Oasis. I think was the other one that was in my was my pick or my other choice. I think that was the other one. And everybody picked Vibrant Italy. So I was getting ready to kit up, and I went into my storage closet, and I was trying to find, which is in the corner of my craft room, which you guys all know my craft room is a big nightmare. And I have to lean over stuff to get into the back depths of the closet. And I bought Vibrant Italy so long ago that it was in the way, way, way recesses of the corner of the closet. So I'm having to struggle to reach back there and try to find it. And I'm going through all of these kits, and I have them stacked in a very inefficient way. I have them stacked up and down. And, and I don't put the stickers on the top of the boxes, which I should. So I have to lift each one out to see the front of the box to identify what painting it is. So I'm going through all these paintings, and I can't find Vibrant Italy anywhere. But I pull up this one, and I was like, ooh, I forgot about that one. Hmm. So on the fly, I made the split decision that I was going to work on this one instead. It's Country Blessings, and that's what it's going to look like. And the rendering on this is superb. It's really going to be a nice diamond painting when I'm finished with it. I've got three sections done down here. Three sections done down here along the bottom row. So I'm making this dirt path right now, and I did all these beautiful vibrant flowers. I love all the oranges and the reds that are in this painting. And now I'm just continuing on. The section I'm going to do tonight is just continuing on into that path. I'm going to see if I can, yeah, that's better. That's a little bit better. So let me finish saying hi to everybody. I interrupted myself. I always do that. I know you guys probably get so frustrated with me. Catherine's here. Hello, Catherine. And Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia. Definitely give me a call about that. Anonymous is here, and Dawn. Caden's here. Hello, hello. Caden and I were talking a lot during Mindy's live. We can probably talk a little bit easier now. Rhonda's here. Is it nice Rhonda or the other Rhonda tonight? I hope it's nice Rhonda. Tammy's here. Lori's here. Hi, Lori. How are you doing? And Sherry. Cammie's here. Cammie, I haven't seen you in a while. It's nice to see you. Sean is here, and Linda. Hi, Michelle and Brenda. And Linda's here. Hi, Linda. Are you done with your sweater? Yes, Sherry. I love these colors too. Love, love, love these colors. Orange is my favorite color. For anybody that doesn't know that. So, yes, it's going to be. I have on my living room walls. I have the Sweet Life on the small side of the wall, and then I have an open area on the bigger side of the wall, kind of kitty corner from it. And I decided that that's where this is going to go. I'm going to put that there. It is looking nice already. Thanks, Mindy. Thanks. Did I say hi to you, Marion? I'm not sure if I did or not. You eliminated the steeple. Okay. You know what I was considering eliminating, and I know this is going to be a really unpopular opinion. I'm considering eliminating the rainbow. I think it's just a little too much. I'm thinking about going with just a blue sky across there and eliminating the rainbow. I'm not a big fan of rainbows, and I don't know. I feel like it's just a little much for the painting. Judy says, I'm looking at that one now hanging on my wall. It was so fun to work, and it's really awesome. It is really fun to work. So it has 66 colors, and it's very, very confetti heavy, and I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving the confetti of it. And the AB placement is really nice. So yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. Of course, Linda's done with the sweater. Paula's here. Hi, Paula. And Gail. Hi, Gail. Let's see what else. Oh, Cammie's been dealing with a bad knee. Had surgery. Ugh. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Sherry did the Sweet Life. Awesome. Caden, you don't like the swing. I do like the swing. I think because for me, the swing is kind of like memories of my childhood, because my grandparents had a swing similar to that in a tree on their property when I was growing up. So this is kind of, this painting is kind of like a little bit of a reminder of my childhood in a way. Yeah, Sean, the rainbow feels a little out of place. Yup. Yeah, I bet you got tired of re-rendering by the time you got there. Yup. Yup. Yes, Joe, the fall colors are my favorite. Rhonda, you're working on a turtle coral reef. Cool, I like turtles. Turtles are fun. Turtles are super fun. Lisa's here. Hi, Lisa. You're driving home from DC. What's the weather like on your drive? I hope the weather is okay. Have I got a story for you guys? So you guys, I don't know who's gonna, I want to say you're lucky I'm here tonight, but I'm not going to be that vain and tell you that you're lucky to be able to be here with me. But let me just say that I am lucky that I am here tonight. Okay, for anybody that was in our crochet live yesterday afternoon, Mindy and I do a crochet live Friday at 2 on her channel. And the reason I'm here at Maddie's is because her fiance Austin is out on the road with his band doing a 2-week tour. Maddie does not do well staying alone. Maddie also has to work outside of the house sometimes. She works from home sometimes, but she also works outside of the house. She has to go into the office, I think, 2 or 3 days a week. So their dog, because they each work opposite shifts, their dog is not used to being left home alone. So she didn't have anybody to take care of the dog while she worked, plus she hates being home alone. So I agreed that I would come down and stay with her while Austin was gone on tour with the band. So he left on Thursday. So the plan originally was for me to come on on Saturday. And she has one of her childhood friends' birthday party tonight. So I was going to be down here in enough time for her to go out for the birthday party so I could stay with Junebug. Well, she texted me just before my crochet live yesterday. She's like, Mom, there's going to be a big snowstorm coming. I think you should come tonight because we're supposed to get 8 to 9 inches and the roads aren't going to be cleared, tomorrow. And I think you should come tonight. I think it'd be safer if you came tonight. So we finished up our live and I was going to take a shower. I hadn't packed or loaded the car or anything. But she texted me again and said, Mom, it already started snowing here. So I said, okay, let me get my butt in gear. So I decided I would wait and take my shower when I got down here to Maddie's, and I just quick loaded up my stuff and packed up my clothes, hopped in the car, and took off. I left my house at 4:30 yesterday afternoon. It takes me an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes to get to Maddie's house on normal dry roads. And as I'm driving, I had my maps on, my Google Maps were on, and you know how it tells you like what time you're going to be there, your estimated time of arrival? It kept getting pushed later and later and later. And it wasn't snowing or anything, and the roads were fine. Well, I get about a third of the way there and it starts snowing. And it's not your normal snow. It's like really heavy freezing rain snow. And it's coming down so heavily that it looked like it was hard to see in front of you because it was snowing so heavily. And all of a sudden, the roads got very, very, very icy and slippery. My car, I drive a Chevy Equinox. It is horrible on slippery roads. It's absolutely horrible in the snow. So I start slipping around. Now, I've decreased my speed. I'm now going 35 miles an hour on the expressway. And it's still too dangerous. It's still too fast. I'm slipping and sliding and spinning and fishtailing. And finally I said, enough. I can't. This is not safe. I don't know what I'm going to do, but this is not safe. So I got off at the nearest, put my hazards on. I got off at the nearest exit. And there was luckily a really nice truck stop style gas station that was open 24 hours. That'll come into play later in the story. And I pulled in there and I called Maddie and I was like, honey, I don't know what to do. I can't drive in this. My car is, now Junebug is going to sit down there and chew on her bone. I'm sorry if you guys hear that chewing. I can't really control what the dog does. I could take it away from her, but then she'd just get into something else. So we're just going to have to deal with it. So I'm like, I don't know what to do, but I know that I can't get back on that highway with the roads like this. And it's only getting worse. you know what I mean? It's just started. It's only going to get worse. We're supposed to get 8 to 9 inches. So she has a car that travels a lot better through bad weather, and she says, "Well, I'll come and get you." At this point, I'm about halfway to her house. She said, "I'll get in the car and I'll come get you." And I'm like, okay, because I mean, what are our other options, right? To turn around and go back home, I would have had to get back on the highway, going the other direction, and I would have had to travel just as far through it as I already had, and I couldn't. It just, I was going to wreck. I was absolutely going to wreck if I stayed driving. And so I'm like, okay, that sounds good. She gets in her car, she puts in her maps, it says she's going to be there at a certain time. I don't even remember what time it said. A drive that should have taken her 40 minutes took her 2.5 hours. She was stopped on the expressway for accidents. She got stuck. She did a 180 and ended up facing the wrong direction on the expressway. She ultimately got off the expressway because it was so scary, and she ended up taking an alternate route that avoided the highway. And when she did that, she went through like country farmland. There were trees down across the road because this was actually a winter storm. It was it was a thunderstorm. There was lightning, there was thunder, and all these trees were knocked down. 2.5 hours later, she arrives at this gas station. Now, keep in mind, I've been sitting at this gas station now for 2.5 hours. I've got her dog. So the dog's in the back seat. That dog was an angel. She was so, so nice. So we decide that what we'll do is we'll leave my car there overnight, come back and get it the next day when the plow trucks have come through and the ice truck or the salt trucks and everything. So I didn't want to just willy-nilly leave it. I'm totally ignoring chat right now. I'll come back and catch up on chat, and when I'm finished with the story, it might take me a minute. And so I decided I didn't want to leave it without them knowing at the store. You know what I mean? I didn't want them to tow my car away. So I went into the store and I explained the situation, and the lady there was so nice. She could not have been sweeter. She gave me a bowl of water for the dog. She gave me a couple 3 dog treats. And she was like, "You just leave it here as long as you need to. Don't put yourself in danger. It'll be fine. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Da 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 da." They were just super, super nice. So Maddie gets there and she is a wreck. I have never seen her so upset. And honestly, in all my years of driving, that is the scariest I have ever been. The most scared I have ever been driving. It was absolutely awful. So we get in the car to get ready to go back home or come back to her house. And it took us another 2.5 hours to get back to her house. We were going 30 miles, at the max. Mostly we were going 25 miles an hour. We were going at the max 30 miles an hour on the highway. And there were cars in the ditch, accidents everywhere. It was rotten. It was so stupid. We instantly regretted the decision to try to outrun the storm because it was crazy. So I'm gonna go back but then that's not the end of my story. That's not the end of my story, because remember, now my car is still 50 miles away from where I'm at. So I want to catch up on comments real quick. And then I'll finish telling you. Hey, Marianne, nice to see you. Thanks for coming over. Yeah, Judy, I think it's gonna look better without the rainbow. Yep. Linda's working on Reflections of Country Living. That's awesome. I did that one for one of the Chuck-alongs. I don't think it was the last one though. Lisa said it got up into the 60s today. That's awesome. That's awesome. Mindy likes everything about it. I knew you would like I knew you would, Mindy. Um, yes, Jody, exactly. Snow like that is hypnotizing. It was the way it kind of comes at the windshield. It's definitely hypnotizing. Yeah, you guys, it was so scary. Oh, hi, Jennifer. No, you're not late. You're fine. So we wait for quite a while today, and we kept checking Google Maps because it'll show you the route that you're going to take, and it'll show you like either the yellow or the red if traffic is slow or delayed. And it kept showing that it was still yellow on the route that we had to take, which meant that the plow trucks hadn't, the traffic was still backed up and the roads were still bad because they hadn't finished clearing it out yet. So finally it showed just a small part of yellow, and we're like, we've got to go do it because Maddie had to go to this birthday party later in the afternoon. So it came to a point where we had to go do it. So we got in her car and we headed off again. Oh, and then to add insult to injury, I told you that I hadn't taken a shower before I left for Maddie's yesterday from my house. So I was in my pajamas and wearing my slippers. And I'm out there trying to walk the dog to take her to go to the bathroom through this snowstorm at this truck stop. And I had to go into the store with my slippers and pajamas on. And I didn't have my teeth. Oh no, I did remember my teeth, thank God. So I didn't look, like a total idiot. But I at least had the presence of mind to put a hat on. So at least I had a stocking cap on, so my head was warm. But it was, and thank goodness, I only had half a tank of gas when I left the house. And Jeff pulled in the driveway right as I was about to leave, and he said, how much, are you gonna get gas? I'm like, no, I got a half a tank, I'll be fine. He's like, no, go down to the corner, meet me at the gas station, and I'll fill it up for you. So that's what we did, and I'm so glad that we did because I sat there the whole time running my car, while I was waiting for her. So I'm running the gas out of it the whole time. So I'm glad that we did put that extra gas in there. But we take off this morning, get on the highway. We no sooner get onto the expressway and it slows to a dead stop. Accident. So we're like, huh. Now this was so weird because the pavement was totally dry. But what would happen would be, okay, it's an interstate, and there's 3 lanes of traffic. So 2 out of the 3 lanes would be perfectly cleared and plowed. Then the 3rd lane would be cleared and plowed, but then it would just stop and there would be snow on it. And the snow was rutted because it was such heavy snow. So the snow was rutted where your tires would go. So anybody coming into or out of the lane was getting caught, and it was whipping their cars, and then they'd spin and hit other cars. So between Maddie's house, so 40 minutes away, well, it should have been 40 minutes, it was longer than that. Even though the roads were dry, just because of those patches that had not been totally cleared on one lane, there were 3 multiple car accidents that we got stopped for and had to go past. I couldn't even count the number of cars in ditches and that had run off the side of the road because it was just that grabby snow that was just grab your tire and pull you off to the side. And then on the way back there was 1 accident. So nope, I take that back. There were 2 because there was 1 right at the end. 2 accidents right on the way back. So 5 accidents even the next day after the roads were technically cleared. But Maddie was so funny. You guys know how funny Maddie is. Maddie was so funny. She's like, Mom, I have to be a good person from now on. I'm like, what do you mean? You're always a good person. She's like, no, I can't screw up. I can't. I have to be a good person now. I'm like, well, okay, why? She's like, because last night when I was driving, I prayed. And I prayed and I said, please, please, please let me get home safely. I will never do anything bad again. If you just let me get home safely, I promise I will never ever do anything bad again. So, so Maddie is now, you know, I'm like, well, you should try to be a good person anyway. She's like, I know, but I can't do anything bad. Okay, okay, Maddie. So that is my story of getting here to Maddie's. Um, it was, we didn't get home here, so I had left my house yesterday at 4:30 p.m. We didn't get to Maddie's house until 10:30 last night. And then of course I had to shovel because I don't know, Mindy said I didn't tell you guys this, but I thought I did. Maddie sometimes moonlights at a local bar down here in Detroit and as a bartender and server. She was working last week and there was a wet floor and she slipped and fell and cracked her ribs. So she is in immense pain, and that's another reason why I'm down here is to help out with the dog because she can't take the dog for a walk. It's hard for her to bend over to let, you know, do anything and carrying the food and cleaning the litter boxes and doing the laundry and stuff like that. So she's still recovering from her cracked ribs. So I'm also, here to help her out with that. But since I didn't want her to fall and it was real slippery and there was a lot of snow, so once we got home last night back to her house, I went out and shoveled a path for her to be able to walk to get up into the house without slipping and hopefully without slipping and falling, which she didn't do. She managed to slip on the porch. She didn't fall, but she slipped, and now her back is and her sides are hurting really badly again, where she felt like she was starting to heal a little bit for a while. So she's a wreck. She's a mess. Mess, mess, mess. Yeah, poor Maddie, right? Um, it was so, so scary. Tammy's working on strength along the journey. Cool, cool, cool. Um, if your pick is the one I'm thinking of, someone made me aware of the steeple shadow on the barn roof. You'll need to think about that correction. Yeah, I'm going to leave the steeple. I'm okay with the steeple, but I'm going to get rid of the rainbow, I think. Yes, I thank you so much, Sean. Right, Jennifer, one thing after another with us. We just can't catch a break, this family. We're crazy. Okay, so I need to make a public apology before we go any further, and then we'll get there. I did a giveaway 2 weeks ago, and you guys have not received your stuff yet, and I apologize. I am late getting that stuff sent, and I'm just going to be real upfront and honest with you. I knew that I had to come and stay away from home for these 2 weeks and that I would need to have money for gas and food. And I am severely broke right now. And I couldn't afford to ship those packages, but I will ship them as soon as I get back home, because I will have gotten paid by then. So I'm really sorry, and I'm going to throw some extra treats in there to make up for the delay. I'm super, super sorry to those 3 people who are waiting for stuff from me, but hopefully if I add in some extra stuff, you'll forgive me. So again, I'm super sorry about that. I couldn't, boxes are, well, the one things can go in envelopes, but, well, they're not going to be able to now because I'm going to put extra stuff in there with them. But that box of yarn was going to be a lot to ship. So, and I just didn't have it. I'm still dealing with my Social Security being messed up and not getting paid from that. And I just didn't have the money to pay for it this past time. So I apologize, and You know, it's kind of embarrassing to say, hey, sorry, I know I offered this, but I'm broke and I can't send it to you. So that's a little embarrassing, but I'm gonna, you know, I'm nothing but honest. So even if it's makes me look like an idiot, I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, so what else is going on? Our plans. So I've got some pretty big plans for while I'm here. I think I've talked before. I have done Maddie a serious disservice in her um, growing up, in that I never expected her. She grew up as kind of a little bit of a princess. I never expected her to really clean in any way, or do chores very much, and I never taught her how to cook. So while I'm here, I am going to be trying to teach her some kitchen basics and maybe some organization basics. I'm a little disappointed because originally the plan was that we were going to organize her craft room and we were going to get that all set up and cool. But if you guys remember, Maddie is now in April, Maddie's going to be moving home. Hold on for just a second, you guys. Junebug! Junie! Where are you, girl? Come on, Junebug. What are you doing? Hang out with me. Alright, sorry, I had to make sure that Junebug wasn't getting into anything. Have it, lay down, girl. Alright. Alright, Cynthia, I will. I'll give Maddie hugs for you. Oh, Catherine, you're working on Woodland Oasis. That one's beautiful. What did I do? What did I do? Thank you guys for your understanding. I appreciate that. Yes, silent dogs and silent children are never a good sign. Never a good sign. My daughter, my other daughter, Emily, is having a heck of a time toilet training her youngest. Now, yes, she's 3. Yes, that's ridiculous. She did just turn 3, but she is 3, and it's at the point of being ridiculous. She will go pee in the potty, and she goes pee every time all by herself in the potty. But it's almost become like a mental thing. She refuses to go number 2 in the potty. She will only go in her diaper. And my solution was just quit putting diapers on her. I mean, if she's wearing underwear, then, you know, but whatever. That's not why I brought this up. The reason I brought it up was when it's funny because when she has to go number 2, she'll go hide. So she'll like go stand in a corner and wants to be alone. And it's like, yeah, she wants her privacy because she's, you know, going number 2. Like, Lila, go on the potty. You just go on the potty. It was awful. Yeah, I'm so broke right now. I can't even pay attention. I have 2 weeks to spend down here. Maddie doesn't have any food in her house because she doesn't know how to cook, so they eat out constantly. I can't afford to eat out. I brought some stuff with me from home, some stuff, not enough, and I have a full tank of gas now, thanks to Jeff, thank goodness. So I have a full tank of gas, and I have a $50 gift card to Meijer that I got for Christmas, so I can get $50 worth of groceries from Meijer. And I have, and then Jeff gave me $40. So that's what I'm working with until I go home. So that's not much for 2 weeks to try to live on. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting. Oh, Sherry, the cat, yeah. I have already pushed. Maddie has two cats, Ernie and Wheels. Now, Wheels has a kind of an interesting origin story. Hold on, I'm going to take a drink. And I'm not drinking tonight, no wine tonight. Tonight I'm having water with Crystal Light with caffeine. So I might be all hopped up on caffeine um, because I have to stay up because Maddie's out with her girlfriends celebrating that birthday party. I have to go pick them up from the bar or the club or wherever they end up. They're going to a drag show tonight. So they're going to a drag show, and then I think they were going out to a club after that. So it sounded like fun. I didn't get invited. I was a little salty about not getting invited because the friend whose birthday it is, I've known her since she was a little girl. So yeah, my feelings were a little hurt that I didn't get invited at all, but you know, it's a young girl's thing, I guess. And maybe with the drag show, maybe they had to buy their tickets in advance or something. I don't know. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go ahead and think that that's the reason. Because I was like, well, I could have gone, but yeah. So I'm gonna go pick them up so that they're not, drinking and driving. And so I have to remain perfectly sober myself so that I can do that. So no wine for me tonight. And Jeff found those Crystal Lights. They're those little flavor packets that they're like a single serving, and you just put them in water in a bottle. It's enough for a bottle of water, and it's with caffeine. And the wild strawberry is flippin' delicious. So tasty. I love the wild strawberry. What was I talking about? The cats. So she's got two cats, Wheels and Ernie. And when Wheels was about 2 weeks old, we were in the house. We had the windows open. It was a nice summer, it was like a spring day. And we heard this noise. And it didn't sound like a cat. It didn't sound like anything I'd ever heard. It was just this very high-pitched crying. And we're like, what in that world is that? And it just wouldn't stop. So we decided to go outside and investigate. And right in the edge of the woods by our house, Maddie was it was the summer before Maddie went away to college. No, that's false. It was the summer after her freshman year because she wasn't living in the dorms the next year. That's right. She was home for the summer. So we go out to investigate, and we find on this stump in the edge of the woods this teeny weeny little kitten with no other cats around it. And it was like stuck on the stump. It was too little to be able to jump down from the stump. And it didn't even I don't think it even had its eyes open yet. So maybe it wasn't even 2 weeks old. So I was like, well, the mama will come back for it. We don't want to, let's just see if the mama comes back for it. So we waited and we watched from afar for a little while, and no mama ever showed up. And so we went out there and rescued this little kitty. And we brought it in the house, and it was full of fleas. It was obviously a feral cat's kitten. We have a lot of barn cats because we live out in the country. A lot of barn cats and stuff out where we live. And it was obviously a feral cat's kitten. And for some reason, the mother had abandoned it. We never ever did see the mother or any other kittens anywhere around our property. And so Maddie decides that she's going to adopt this kitten. Well, like I said, it was so new and so young and so teeny. We had to take it immediately to the vet because we didn't, know if something was wrong with it. We didn't know how to feed it. anything like that. So we got an emergency appointment at the vet and we took it in. And the vet gave us formula, cat formula, and a bottle and instructions. And Maddie had to wake up every 2 hours to feed this cat. And she did. And Maddie is not an easy person to wake up. But she did. She got up every 2 hours and fed this little baby kitty, and it had worms and it had fleas and it, you know, all this stuff. And the vet said, you know, it might not make it um, because it had been abandoned for a little while. It had been on its own for a little while. It was dehydrated. Um, it might not make it. But Maddie nursed that little kitty back to health, and then when she went back to college in the fall, she had gotten an apartment that year, and she took Wheels with her when she went back down to school. And that was 6 years ago. It'll be 6 years this spring. And that cat, Maddie treats it like it's a child. I mean, Maddie is really a very, very loving pet owner, very conscientious, very good with taking care of her animals. But that cat still acts like it's feral. It doesn't let you near it. It doesn't want to be petted or pet, I think would be the correct grammar there. Doesn't want to be pet. It doesn't want to snuggle. It loves its cat tree and looking out the window and fantasizing about the squirrels it sees. I think that's what she's doing. But she never really, even though she was found and rescued and brought into a loving home when she was so teeny weeny, she has never really tamed. She's always just been a feral cat. But then a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, they decided to get, because that was when they were both working and going to school so much, and they weren't home very much, and they felt bad for Wheels being alone all the time. So they decided they were going to adopt another kitten. So we went to this place called the Cafe, and what the Cafe is a rescue organization that serves coffee. It's like a coffee shop, but there's all these adoptable cats roaming around. So we went to the Cafe, and there were lots of cute cats and kittens there. But then Maddie sees Ernie, and Ernie is the weirdest looking cat I've ever seen. He's got the weirdest looking face. And she decides that's the cat she wants. So that's how she ended up with Ernie. But Ernie loves to lick diamond paintings. So he'll get up and he'll lick the cover paper. He'll lick the edge of the canvas. He'll lick if you leave it open like this, he'd come and lick on the adhesive. He's so weird. He just wants to lick it all the time. So I've already shooed him off of here numerous times while I've been diamond painting. But I think he got the hint. Maddie doesn't shoo him away, so because she is a cat crazy person and she thinks it's mean to shoo him away, so she doesn't. But I think I shoot him away enough times that he's not going to come back. He might though, and if he does, you'll get a chance to see Ernie. I don't know where he is. Don't know where he is. Jody says, I foresee a lot of craft dinner. Yeah, there's going to be lots of mac and cheese going on, lots of hot dogs, lots of ramen going to be happening up in this house. Yep, lots of spaghetti. That's a nice cheap meal. Yeah. And that's kind of what I want to do is teach her how to cook economically and just give her some basic skills. Because right now she can't even boil water, like literally. I think she maybe can make scrambled eggs, but that's about it. She knows how to use the microwave and can make scrambled eggs, and that's about the limits of her expertise. And I don't know how she's made it to 25 years old and living on her own since she was 18 and doesn't know how to do anything. But it is my fault. It's my fault. I never taught her. you know. So shame on me for being a bad mom. I thought at the time I was being a good mom because I was treating her like my little princess and doing everything for her. But in the long run, it's not working out to her favor. I've got a weird section, I've got a weird area here that I'm working on. I've run across this a couple times. It's like my glue is really thin and my drills aren't sticking. They want to slide all over the place. Oh look, this is an area right here. I can see it in the light when I move my head back and forth and look at it. There's a little area there. There's no glue, and I didn't bring my Ilene's Tack It over and over. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess I'll just have to hit that back up later with some glue. Interesting. Interesting. Tammy, your son used to do that too, with potty training. It's annoying. Yes, Sean, ramen noodles it is. Dawn, I have been to a couple of drag shows in my life, and they are a hoot. They are so much fun, and they're so high energy and so just a great time. The ones I've been to have all been a great time. And it's amazing to me. I had a hairdresser who was a drag queen in his off time, you know, as a hobby, not as a profession. But I went to see him in a couple of shows. And it's always amazing to me because I knew him as a man. I mean, yes, a gay man, but you know, when I saw him in the salon, you know, he dressed as a man. And then I would go to the drag shows and see him dressed up and with his makeup on, and he was absolutely gorgeous. It's always amazing to me what a huge transformation people can make and look just so beautiful as women. Um, yeah. So, yeah, that's always interesting to me. Tammy, you trained her the same way? Yeah. Joe says, I just heard on the news, what was it in Kentucky that was trying to outlaw drag shows? Really, Joe? That's interesting. Jody, you looked, but you didn't find Crystal Light with caffeine? Oh, they're awesome. I'll have to send you some. Or when you come for a visit, I'll send you home with a bunch. No, Tammy, it doesn't come with it automatically. It's on the box. I don't want to, I'd have to put my table down and stuff to get up to show you. On the box, it says Crystal Light, and then it says Wild Strawberry, and then there's like a little banner underneath that says with caffeine. So you can get it with caffeine or without caffeine. And I like the ones with caffeine because I need all the help I can get. After our so when Maddie got to the gas station to pick me up last night, she was absolutely frazzled from her harrowing ordeal of doing a 180 on the interstate and getting stuck. And then at one point she had to pull over on the side of the expressway and get out of her car, which was extremely dangerous. But she had to because the ice had built up on her windshield wipers and she couldn't see. So she had to get out of her car and get the ice off of her windshield wipers. And she was so frazzled after that I drove her car back to her house from the truck stop. And I was so wired after getting home and after the whole deal, I couldn't sleep. Maddie conked out and went to bed, but I couldn't sleep. So I didn't lay down to go to sleep until 5 o'clock this morning. And then Junebug woke me up because Junebug slept with me in the spare bedroom. She slept right in bed with me. It was so cute. She snuggled up. So she woke me up at 8:30. So I got 3.5 hours of sleep last night. So I need all the caffeine I can get to stay up, be able to stay up till 2 when the bars close tonight. Because I have a feeling now, if Maddie was out with any other friend, she would probably come home at like 11 or midnight, a reasonable hour. But this particular friend whose birthday it is a party monster. Um, and will insist, and is also one of those people who is like, you have to, it's my birthday kind of person. You know what I mean? You have to do what I want because it's my birthday. So, Mackenzie, love ya, but yes, you are like that. Sometimes Mackenzie watches. And so I have a feeling that it's going to be last call. And the bars here close at 2. So I have a feeling it's going to be 2 o'clock before I've got to go pick them up. And I don't even know where I've got to drive everybody. I think the one friend, I don't know who I'm all picking up. I don't know where I'm taking them. One of the friends lives in Detroit, right downtown. One lives in Royal Oak. Maddie lives here in Hazel Park, so I might have to do a little bit of driving. Oh, thanks, that is a sweet kitty story. Yes, Kaden, this one is particularly confetti heavy. Yes, at least the portion that I've done thus far. Now I can see up here in the church, there's some color, little bit of multi-placing that you'll be able to do. And then there's a lot of lines in the barn here, so you'll be able to do a lot of line blocking. But other than that, it seems very confetti heavy, which I love. I absolutely love that about a diamond painting. So I'm not mad about it at all. Ooh, yes, Gail. Pot roast in a crock pot. That's an excellent idea. Yes. And then I can make slump out of it. Have I ever told you guys the slump story? I'm sure I have. Has anybody ever seen the movie Snow Dogs? It has Cuba Gooding in it. Cuba Gooding Jr., is that his name? It's an older movie, probably from the, I don't know, early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, I would say. And it's about this guy that inherits a bunch of sled dogs when his mother passes. And he's from the city, and his mom lived up in Alaska and was a sled dog. I don't know if she was I don't remember if she was a racer, if she raced them or what, but she had sled dogs. And he inherited these sled dogs, and he was a city kid, and he didn't know what he was doing, and it just was a comedy of errors the way, he had to learn how to take care of these dogs. So he would feed them, and what he fed them was this concoction of meat and gravy and stuff, and they called it slump. SLS as in Sam. I know I have a lisp, so it's hard to understand. S as in Sam, slump. SLUMP. And one time when I make pot roast, I always take the leftover pot roast and the potatoes and the carrots. I add a bag of frozen mixed vegetables, and I add barley and make lots of gravy and combine it all and cook it into like a stew. Well, we were having that stew one day for dinner, and it's very tasty. I mean, it tastes absolutely delicious. But we were having that one day for dinner, and Maddie was a small child. She's like, "Mom, this looks like slump." So ever since then, my family has always called that slump. And it's a favorite family meal. But when anybody new comes into the family or is over for dinner or whatever, and they ask, what's for dinner, and we tell them slump, they're like, ew, that doesn't sound very good. Yeah, we're having slump for dinner. Gotta love some slump. Oh, Tammy, your son-in-law can cook. You didn't teach your daughter either. Oh, at least she can bake. Yeah. Uh, my daughter cannot bake or cook. Marianne said, "Is there possible with some of the clear cover?" No, because I have my clear cover pulled all the way back, and there's no rips or anything in it, unless there was just a random piece. Let me see if I can see that spot again. Yeah, no, there's nothing there. There's nothing. There's nothing there. There's just nothing there. Like I can see the sheen on the canvas, and it's like dull, and then in just this one little spot. It only encapsulates about two drills worth of area. So probably just something happened when they poured the glue. No big, everything can't be perfect all the time. It's no big deal. I'll deal with it. Walmart has the Crystal Light with caffeine. Thanks, Sherry. Oh yeah, yeah, she's in Canada. Hey, Shawana's here. Hi, Shawana. How you doing? No, it's right, Tammy. Yeah, I hope they're sober enough to tell me where they live. Snow Dogs is a great movie. Yeah, Dentist from Miami. Yup, yup. No, I said slump. S-L. Yeah, slump. Yup. Oh, Lisa made it home. Good. Get some diamond painting done. Awesome. Ooh, pizza sounds good. I wish I had pizza. Sherry, I would make my wormwooding pizza, but Maddie's not a huge, chili, but Maddie's not a huge fan of chili. She'll eat my chili, but it's not her favorite. What Maddie loves that I make is chicken and biscuits. So what I do with that is I take a whole chicken, and it's important that you use a whole chicken because you want to get the flavor from the bones and the marrow and the everything. Take a whole chicken and I boil it with onion and celery until it's very, very tender, fall off the bone. Then remove the bones and the skin, and then I put in all different kinds of vegetables, carrots, corn, peas, green beans, potatoes. I've even done broccoli. Cauliflower doesn't hold up real well. It kind of melts into, mush. So I don't use cauliflower usually. But it's all lima beans. I love lima beans. And then turn it into gravy, and then I make biscuits. Just drop biscuits, like you know what I mean by a drop biscuit. And then you break the biscuit apart and pour the chicken and gravy and vegetables over it. That's Maddie's favorite meal that I make. I could make some chicken and biscuits, and that would last us for quite a while too. So maybe we'll do that. I'll teach her how to make chicken and biscuits. That sounds really good actually. And then already she's like, we should go to brunch tomorrow. Maddie loves brunch. I'm like, Maddie, I don't have any money. She's like, well, I'm broke too, but we could still go to brunch. I'm like, Maddie, no, we're not going to waste what little money we have on brunch. We're going to take the money and we're going to go to the store and we're going to figure out how to most economically, plan our meals. So but she's just a classic millennial. Classic millennial. Me and Mindy were talking about this the other day about like kids these days, and like DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff like that. It's like it's such a convenience for them, and they just do that all the time because if they're spending just a little bit of money, it doesn't feel like they're spending a lot of money on food, but they're actually spending more money because they're doing it more frequently, you know? So I want to try to teach her that if you go to the grocery store, you can, it'll be in the long run cheaper than doing, you know, $10, $20 a day on DoorDash. Pam's here. Hi, Pam. Jody says, cook ground beef and mushroom soup over rice, called dog food. The friends they love telling their friends they were having dog food for dinner. That sounds delicious. Cook ground beef and mushroom soup over rice. We might have to make that one because I did bring a box of rice with me. I brought a box of rice. I brought some cocoa wheats. Love cocoa wheats. But of course, Maddie doesn't have any sugar, and I can't have sugar or milk. So I can't have any cocoa wheats without sugar or milk. And it's so bad here. Maddie doesn't even have, get this, you guys. You're not going to believe this. I know you guys all love Maddie, but she's a piece of work. We currently do not have any toilet paper. That's right, you heard me. There's no toilet paper in this house. So we are currently, and this is gross, we're using paper towels. We are using paper towels, and this is the gross part, not flushing them because you don't want to try to flush paper towels down your toilet. So we've got a little garbage bag in there, and you know, if we go number one, it goes in the garbage bag. Now, I haven't had to go number two yet, and I don't know what's going to happen when we have to go number two, but I'm hoping that we'll get some toilet paper before that happens. So I think I'm going to talk her into going to the grocery store tomorrow so we can get that stuff all taken care of. Because that's kind of an important one. You can live without a lot of things in this world, but butt wipe is one that you cannot live without. She's something else. Lisa's making chili for mom and dad for their dinner tomorrow. Nice. Yes, let it slow cook in the pot all day. That's what I do too, Lisa. Yep, let the juices get all in there. Yeah. Ooh, cheeseburger mac and cheese. Tastier than hamburger helper. So, Lisa, when you do that, do you just use the Kraft box mac and cheese and cook and put the cooked hamburger in there, or do you make homemade mac and cheese and put hamburger in there? Because I can cook a lot of things. I like to think I'm a fairly decent cook. I have never, and I don't know why, been able to make a good batch of homemade macaroni and cheese. It just does not ever turn out. I've tried different recipes. I've had my brother-in-law try to teach me because he makes delicious homemade mac and cheese. And mine just never, the cheese never coalesces with the noodles. It always ends up like greasy and not creamy and cheesy, if that makes any sense. I don't know what I do wrong, but I cannot make homemade mac and cheese. Yeah, right, Tammy and Mindy? It's a strange mindset. They don't realize that they're spending more. They really don't, she'll be like, oh, I DoorDash, or I'll be like, what'd you have for dinner? I got DoorDash, we don't have any food in the house. I'm like, well, why don't you go to the grocery store? Well, I can't afford it. What don't you get about, you're gonna spend $100 in DoorDash to feed yourself for 10 days or 10 times, not even that, it probably costs more than that actually. Whereas if you go to the grocery store, that same amount of money is going to last you twice as long, if not more. Yes, Gail, and then you have to tip. Yeah, exactly. Right, Jody, they have no concept of cash. I was talking to Mindy about this just last week, or maybe it was this week, I don't remember. My time kind of drags into itself for me. I got into trouble when I was in my early 20s. I got into trouble with credit cards because I was going through a divorce. I was used to I had 2 kids. I was used to a 2 income household. We had joint physical custody when we got divorced, so I didn't get child support. So I was, but my ex-husband wasn't buying, school clothes and, stuff like that, or clothes, because Maddie wasn't even in school yet. Well, she was in preschool. But, I was buying all the clothes and the toys and the birthday gifts and, all that stuff. So I got into some pretty high credit card debt. And I paid off, it took a long time and a lot of sacrificing, but I paid off my credit cards and I never got another credit card. So that's why, like, you would think, like with me saying I can't afford to ship those packages, the reason why is I don't have a credit card. I paid off my credit cards all those years ago, and I work on a cash only basis. If I have the money, I have the money. If I don't, I can't get it. You know what I mean? Whatever I want or need. And for a lot of people, that wouldn't work. And, and there have been a lot of times in my life where it's been extremely inconvenient, like this current situation, for example. But it has prevented me from overextending myself. You can't spend what you don't have. So I think if kids would be a little bit more, if it would be a little bit more difficult for them to get credit, I think that the world would be a better place. I think that we're too eager to give these young 18-year-olds credit. And they're not mature enough to take that. Hell, I wasn't mature enough for it in my 20s. You know what I mean? It was like, I can't afford that. I got room on my credit card. I'll just charge it. So the way I had to, and some people do have the self-restraint. I just personally, I do not have the self-restraint. If I had a credit card right now, I would say, yeah, Maddie, let's go out to brunch tomorrow, knowing full well that, it's not a wise decision. I would get myself into trouble, so I'm better off. So I'm still obviously not mature enough for it. Yep, and then DoorDash charges a fee, and homemade is way cheaper and tastier, for sure, for sure. Yeah, Mindy, no teepee. No teepee. What the hell, right, Cynthia? What the hell? No, I've never, ever, ever run. Oh, Sean! Good, you are so stinking smart. I am going to text her and tell her to steal a roll of teepees. That's a great idea. So Tammy says box mac and cheese. Lisa says homemade. Oh, Tammy says she can't make homemade mac and cheese either. Jennifer's never made homemade mac and cheese. I just can't. Yes, I will. I'm going to text her and have her snatch some TP from the club. Good idea. Pam says I don't use cheddar cheese. It always does that to me too. I use American cheese slices. That's a good idea. Or I bet you could use even like Velveeta cheese. I never thought to try it that way, but that probably would be better. Now, here's a question for you. Jeff, when we make sandwiches at home, like if we're going to have a turkey sandwich or something like that, we always have cheese on our sandwiches. But Jeff will always make sure that he buys either provolone slices or like Colby Jack slices or cheddar slices. Am I alone in preferring American cheese? I absolutely love Kraft singles. I love American cheese. I think it's so good. Another one of my favorite little cheap meals that I can put together is, has anybody ever done this? You take a hot dog, right? And it can be a leftover hot dog even. Take a hot dog and you slice it lengthwise and put it on a baking sheet and take leftover mashed potatoes, or you can make mashed potatoes, and you put mashed potatoes on it, on top of it. And then you put a slice of American cheese over the top of it. Put that baby in the oven until the cheese melts and the potatoes are hot and the hot dog's like a little browned on the bottom. So good. So yummy. It is a really, really yummy little leftover hack that I like to do with mashed potatoes. Yeah, Catherine, we hardly eat out either. We very, very rarely eat out. Nate's 14 and he loves him some McDonald's. So Jeff will probably like maybe, I would say on average once every other week, we will have fast food of some type. We'll either have I don't eat the McDonald's. I just eat something at home on the nights that Nate gets McDonald's. Um, but he'll have McDonald's, or we'll get Arby's or Taco Bell or something like that. But we don't, and especially since my whole my denture adventure, I still can't eat with my dentures in. I haven't tried recently. I probably should try, but it just seems like a mess to me, and it's just easier to eat without them. So why deal with it when it's just easier to eat without them? So we haven't gone out to eat in a long, long time. Now Jeff and Nate have gone out to eat because they go out with his parents sometimes, but I've stayed home. All right, Lisa's got an idea. Oh, she's telling me how to do the mac and cheese. Boil noodles, drain, get Velveeta cheese block and cut small chunks. Add half a stick of salted or unsalted butter and milk. Never measure, just judge. Add salt and pepper to taste. I'm gonna try that. That's gonna be on my list of things for this 2 weeks for sure. Paula says her daughter orders Grubhub from Panera, tomato soup and a round loaf of bread, 2 muffins, and it costs $31. Oh, 30, can you even imagine? $31 for some soup. That is nuts. And 2 muffins. My goodness, I would go broke faster than you can say anything. Woohoo! Jennifer paid off a credit card this year. Nice. Yes, it feels like once you've done it, it definitely feels like a weight has been lifted. It just feels so good to be out from under that debt. Because they make them so hard to pay off. To me anyways, it seems so hard to pay them off. Paula says her daughter uses 3 kinds of packaged shredded cheese. Really creamy. Yum. That sounds good. Time to invest in baby wipes. Yeah. Uh, Cynthia says her son is almost 25 and has his own business and still won't get a credit card. Yep. I don't think I will ever have a credit card. It works. I just don't want to get in trouble with it. And I don't trust myself. You know, I'm a compulsive, I'm a little bit of a compulsive personality. Um, so I need to, do the things that will prevent, I need to safeguard myself against myself. Um, that being said, Jeff does have a credit card. So, if we got into a situation where there was a real emergency, um, as a family, he could bail us out. So we're not without help as, if an emergency happened, like the furnace went out or we needed a big car repair or, whatever. Oh, speaking of Jeff. Oh. So I decided I was going to leave yesterday afternoon instead of today to come down to Maddie's. And I let Jeff know what I decided. And he was still at work. And I said, there's a storm coming. I'm going to go tonight, blah, blah, blah. So he gets home from work. And as he gets home from work, I'm just backing out of the driveway. So I stop and I talk to him for a few minutes. He's like, it's already snowing in Detroit. I'm like, yeah, well, it just started, and I'm thinking to myself, a normal average snowstorm. What we had last night was not a normal average snow. It was an event. I mean, there was thunder and lightning and wind and blowing. It was a very, very bad storm. And the snow was especially heavy and wet and hard to maneuver in. It was just a special kind of set of circumstances. Under a normal Michigan snow, if it had started snowing I was going to be driving in it an hour after it had started, there should have been no issues. But this was not normal. So he says, why don't you just wait until tomorrow when the roads have cleared? I'm like, Jeff, I think it's going to be worse tomorrow. I think that they're supposed to get 8 to 9 inches. And we did here in Detroit. We got a good 8 inches. I think we're supposed to get 8 to 9 inches. And I think it's, better to get there before the storm hits. He's like, okay, whatever. And so he wasn't real happy with the idea of me doing it in the first place. So when I called him, and I first I called Mindy. I called Maddie, and then I called Mindy when I got to this truck stop. I called Mindy, and I told her what was going on, and I said, I'm not going to tell Jeff. I'm not going to tell him because he's going to say I told you so, So I'm just not going to tell him. So the more we talked, she was like, you call your husband. You've got to tell him. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'll tell him. So after I talked to Mindy, which was the right thing to do. So thank you, Mindy. I called Jeff and told him, I have not heard him so mad at me in a very, very long time. He was so upset. It's like, I don't know, why you won't listen to me. Oh, no. You always put us in these situations. And this is true. Not that I always put us in bad situations, but there have been, in Michigan, 3 really bad winter weather events this year. And for each of them, I rarely leave the house. When I left the house yesterday, it was the first time I had left the house since more than 2 weeks prior when I had gone to Mindy's to kit up that Dreamer Design diamond painting. So I go for, on average, 2 weeks without leaving the house, sometimes longer. But it seems like whenever I do leave the house, all 3 times we've had a major storm this winter in Michigan, it's been a day when I've decided to leave the house. And so Jeff was just livid with me. You know, you never go anywhere, and then the day you decide to go, you always decide to go when it's bad weather, and da 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 da. And he was not a happy guy. Not a happy guy. Oh, I am so behind on, I am so behind on chat. So, what does everybody say about American Singles? Tammy says yes. Cynthia says yes. Jennifer says gross. Mindy says Jeff is right with his provolone or Monterey. Yep. Pam says yes to singles. Tammy says no. Mindy says my hot dog thing is weird. I know. The hot dog thing really is weird, but it's good. It's good. Sherry, what's a potato cake? I've never made potato cakes. That sounds delish. Oh, Pam, you cook for a living, so you eat out a lot. Yeah, I would too. If I had to do it for my job, I wouldn't want to do it at home. Yep. Yeah, I'm a big cheese fan. Yes, Jody, when you come up here, we'll go to Red Lobster and Outback. For sure. For sure. Berta! Berta's working and lurking. Washed your pups, cut their nails, packed up to leave again tomorrow, and pooped. Berta is the goingest person I've ever met in my life. Berta's going to be my roommate at the Great Lakes retreat this summer. I'm so excited. We're gonna hang out and be roommates. I hope I don't snore, Berta. I've heard that I do, but I don't believe it. But I don't think I'm a loud snorer. I think I'm just, a cute little snorer. But you might, I hope that doesn't bother. Maybe now I'm scaring you away. Don't be scared. So I'm super excited to see Berta again. She's one of the coolest people I've ever gotten the chance to meet through YouTube. And how was the mini retreat last week, Berta? Did you have a good time at that? I hope you did. I was talking last week while it was going on that's a really nice, relaxing retreat to go to, the No Frills retreat that they had last week down in Texas. It's just, there's no classes, no swag bag, no, not just people getting together to craft. It's kind of just a relaxed, laid back environment. It's not as cool as, the Great Lakes retreat, because that's the coolest, of course. But it's still nice. All retreats are nice. All the ones that I've been to so far have been nice. And I feel lucky to have been able to go to the ones that I have been able to go to. Yeah, Mindy, you're right. Jeff would have been a lot more angry if he would have found out later. Yes, if he would have found out after the fact. Or if, what I thought about too was, what if they did tow the car and then he's like, because the car's in his name and he gets a call, from the police or something that the car's in impound. Like, he would have been really mad then. Yeah. Hey, Mary Lou is here. How you doing? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Here's how we do. How we make potato pancakes. We use leftover mashed potatoes with flour and eggs, and you fry it in a pan. That sounds delicious. How would it be if you put some chopped onions in there? I bet you that'd be really good. That'd be really yummy. It was much needed, Berta says. It was a blast. Oh, everybody did get a swag bag from you. Nice. But it had nothing to do with crafting. Well, that sounds like fun. What was in it? Or is it a secret? And you know what? You are, okay. I met Berta in person for the first time last year at the Great Lakes Escape Retreat. And Berta flew from Alaska. If I mean, you got everybody knows that Berta lives in Alaska. So Berta flew from Alaska. I could not believe her masterful packing skills and the amount of stuff that she had been able to pack in her suitcases. It was like, it was an art. She's a master. It's just absolutely gifted in being able to pack so much stuff in a suitcase and fly with it. Because I went to one retreat that I had to fly. Wait, just one? Yeah, just the one retreat that I had to fly to. And I actually packed a box and mailed it to my friend who lived there and got it from her, you know, at the when I got to her house because I stayed with her. And there's no way that I would have been able to have packed my craft supplies in my suitcase. I'm just not that talented. But Berta not only packed all of her crafting supplies, everything she needed for the retreat, she also brought me 5 Elizabeth Ward storage containers. So I don't know how she did it. I really don't. It's magical. It's like Hermione Granger with her magic bag that she just opened it up and just stuff just kept coming out of it. And reach your arm way down in there, stuff just still coming out of it. Ooh, onions and cheese, Sherry. That would be good. Tammy, you can request a roommate. Like if you know, you can talk to a friend and you can request roommates. But if you don't know anybody, or if you know, if you don't request a roommate, then it is just randomly assigned. And I think that at least for the Great Lakes retreat, Mindy does the roommate assignments. And so I think that there's some like I don't know how Mindy does it, but I remember talking to Marissa, who does it for the Red Boot retreat, and she asked like, you know, are you a night owl or a morning person? And I think for Great Lakes that was one of the questions too. So you try to match the people up, like, you know, if both people are, if you're not going to put a night owl with a morning person, you know what I mean? Or try not to anyway. So stuff like that is taken into consideration. Oh, good call on the garlic, Jody. Yeah, green onions and garlic would be really good. That sounds yummy. That sounds really yummy. I'm a big fan of green onions, but you know, you have to be real careful with green onions with washing them, because I remember we had an incident here in Michigan not too long ago where people were getting salmonella. No, not salmonella. E. coli from green onions, and it was from the fertilizer in the fields and they weren't washing their green onions. A lot of people got sick from E. coli from them, which is kind of gross because E. coli is poop, right? So that's kind of gross. Oh, Berta brought Alaska stuff. That's cool. I should have seen what I brought to the last retreat. Oh, Cindy's here. Cindy is here working and lurking. She's my friend that so graciously let me stay with her when I went to uh, the No Frills retreat last year in Texas. And so I shipped my box of my supplies to her, and she picked me up at the airport, and I stayed with her, and I stayed with her for, I got there a day early, and we went and had some delicious barbecue, and then we went to the retreat, and then I stayed at her house a day after the retreat before I flew home. And her and her husband took me out to a delicious oyster bar for dinner. So that was fun. It's hard to believe, isn't it hard to believe, Cindy, that that's been a year ago already? Seems like it was just yesterday. At least for me it does. It's hard to believe it's been a year. Oh, Cindy, I have a question for you while you're here. I was going to message you anyway, but since you're here, I'll ask you. Okay, I bought this particular pen right here because Cindy has the exact same one, and I loved it because of how slender it is. And I've noticed recently that this is my go-to pen. This is like the one I always want to use, and it's because it's so slim. But it's not all that pretty. I mean, it's okay, but there are prettier pens out there. I don't remember who we got this from. Do you remember who this came from? Yeah, Mindy, you're right. Berta's on a plane like most people get in a car. Berta flies just about every day. Um, she's always getting on a plane. Always, always, always. They probably know you by name at TSA, right? Don't even bother checking you through security. Probably, oh, she's good. She's here every day. Oh, Mary Lou Tima showed the gift bags on her live. That's nice. Berta took 2 huge suitcases and a rolling carry-on. Nice. One suitcase had like 10 cases to dekit and 8 cases to kit, 8 kits to kit up. Wow, Berta. Wow. What, well, did you get it all done? That's what I want to know. How much work did you actually get done, and how much time did you spend just sitting around and visiting? Because that's what I would have ended up doing, is sitting around and visiting. I feel really bad because I feel like I got my last Red Boot retreat that I went to, which was in October, was 2 weeks after I had gotten all my teeth pulled, and 3 weeks after my surgery, my big surgery. And I was completely miserable. I didn't get a chance to visit with people like I wanted to, because I just felt bad. I didn't feel well. And so I feel like I was robbed of that entire good time. You know what I mean? So I can't wait for the Great Lakes retreat because hopefully nothing else bad will happen and I'll be in good health and good spirits and ready to party. Ready to party. We're going to do all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to play euchre this year. We didn't play euchre last year, and we did the year before. We did the first year. So if you guys don't know, euchre is a game. It's a game that I thought was only played in Michigan, but I'm wondering now because I have been watching a show on Netflix. I don't know if anybody has watched this. It's called New Amsterdam. It's about a hospital in New York City. It's a drama. It's kind of like ER, that kind of show. But anyway, in this show, the one guy has cancer, and he's the hospital director, and he has to go to cancer treatment. And in the cancer treatment room where everybody's sitting and getting their chemo, a group of 4 patients get together each time they go in for chemo, and they play euchre. And I thought that was very interesting because I always thought that euchre was only played in Michigan. So how many of you out there know how to play euchre or have heard of euchre? Berta is a very sweet, awesome person. She brought 26 gift bags. That's awesome. Berta is one of the most generous people I've ever met. Yeah, set Berta up for packing classes, right, Sean? That's a great idea. Mindy says she just throws people together. Instead of E. coli, well, Jody heard with E. Ricola. The cows were pooping in the fields, Sherry, because they used cow manure for fertilizer. How far behind in chat am I? I am so far behind in chat. Following the Grain on Etsy. Okay, thank you. Following the Grain. I gotta remind myself. I gotta remember that somehow. Following the Grain. Oh, here comes Wheels. Wheels is the feral cat. Let's see if I can get her on camera. There she is. That's Wheels. Hi, Wheelie girl. And you saw Junebug's mess all over the... Oh, she's coming up. She's coming up to see us. Hi, Wheelie girl. You're making a liar out of me. I'm so surprised to see you up here. You must need food or something. Oh, Berta, that's hilarious. You didn't count your 27 people. You had 2 bags left, and you couldn't figure out who the person you missed was, and it was you. That's something I would do. That's something I would do. Yeah, Paula, exactly. It was, it is very relaxing. Jennifer says she loves that show. Tammy saw it. Cool, cool, cool. It's a good show. I don't know why I hadn't watched it before. It's a really good show. Gail knows about euchre. Tammy's never heard of it. John's heard of it but doesn't know how to play. Mindy says she was going to remember the cards this time. Jennifer said it was new to her. Catherine's husband plays euchre. Jody, you know euchre too? Okay. Rhonda does better not bring any little brains. What are little brains? Paula says her daughter played it at lunch in high school in Columbus, Ohio. Okay, so that's pretty close to Michigan. She is pretty, isn't she, Sean? Yeah, she's a pretty kitty. She's very teeny. I think the fact that we got her so young, and she was so little, that was one thing the vet was concerned about was her size. And that might be the reason, he thought that might be the reason why the mother abandoned her, like that she was not, healthy, that she was so tiny. She never really got very big. So she's 6 years old, but if you looked at her, you'd think she was still a kitten. She's pretty small. Although she is starting to get kind of a hanging belly these days as she gets a little older. Lisa wants to know if anybody's doing Seize the Day. Just finished and have leftover drills. Ooh, you finished? Lisa, did you, oh, good night, Pam. Thanks for coming. Lisa, did you start that for Chuck-a-Long and you're finished already? Or is that one you had going already? Because if you finish that in 4 days, then you are a rock star. I don't think, did I do Seize the Day? Or is that the one Jeff did? What's the one Jeff did? Because Jeff did do one Chuck-a-Long. I don't remember what one he did. Space for Reflection is the one he did, right? I think. I get so confused on the names of all of them. I can't ever remember the names. I would know it if I saw it. I would know it if I saw it. Gosh, I can't believe I've been talking to you guys for an hour and a half already. Over an hour and a half. Oh, you did that one last Chuck Along, Jennifer? Oh, and Tammy did it last Chuck Along. Elisa's was from her from Chuck Along. Gotcha. Canasta. What's canasta? I don't think I've ever heard of canasta. Cheryl G was awesome. So was Tima and Shay. They helped kit up my stuff, and Cheryl kitted all of them down except one that J-Paw did. He threw them all away. Awful drills. You hate kitting down and kitting up? Oh my gosh, Berta. I hate kitting down. Loathe it. Absolutely loathe it. But I love kitting up. I could kit up for days. And I think that is part of the reason why I have so many whips, is because I love kitting up so much. It's so much fun for me. I just love it. Love, love, love it. How are me and Mindy doing on our great big painting, the shared one? Good. I have slowed down on it considerably because of Chuck Along. So I am working more predominantly on this one rather than more predominantly on that one like I was before. I did not bring it with me down here to Maddie's just because it is so large and cumbersome. And when Maddie's, with Maddie being gone tonight, I've got this whole area to myself to diamond paint. But if Maddie were home, I wouldn't really have room for it. So I didn't bring it with me. So it's not going to get worked on for a couple weeks, and then it's going to be time for me to swap it back with Mindy because she'll be home from vacation. So when Mindy gets back from vacation, her and I are going to set up a time, and we're going to swap it so she gets her turn with it. But I also have been crocheting quite a bit. I had to finish up my sweater for our crochet along. So I did spend some time doing that. And I'm also making, I found, you know how I am, you guys. I found another pattern for a stitch sampler Afghan. And I had the perfect yarn for it, and I couldn't resist. And I started another stitch sampler Afghan. And this thing is going to be, now the other one, the throw that I just finished from the kit from Hirschner's, the Bohemian Romance, that was just a throw, and it's almost too small. It's a very small, it's almost just a throw it over the back of your chair or across the foot of your bed blanket just for show. It's not, I don't know, it's not big enough. But this stitch sampler Afghan is huge. It's ginormous. It is going to fit easily a king size bed. And so it takes quite a while to go through every row, but I am loving it. It's called A Little Help from My Friends, and it's from the designers Hooked on Sunshine. So you can find it on their website or on Ravelry, and I'm really having a good time with it. I have made some modifications. So I've done, I've changed up a couple things. I've changed up some colors. Because the pattern called for 8 colors, and I have 11 colors of this particular yarn that I wanted to use. So I'm alternating some colors, and then in addition to that, I'm added in some granny squares into it. And I just connected my granny squares this afternoon. So it's looking cool. It's looking pretty cool. I could show you guys. Hold on just a second and I'll show you. It's sitting right here next to me, so it won't be hard to show you. Let me just cover this painting up. Okay. Oh, you guys are gonna love the colors, I think. So it starts. This is the bottom of the Afghan. So it starts with these waves. They're like go woo 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 woo, and then you just do these half doubles with a. It's hard to see this. Oh, I got it on the wrong side. My bad. Hold on. Let me flip it over. I was showing you the wrong side. Then we've got just this with the surface slip stitches. Then this pretty area here. And we've got some basket weave. And then they call this area no man's land. It's just 4 rows of half double with a surface slip stitch in the second row. Then I've got a row of small granny squares, 1 in each color. And then I've got these like, I don't know, like diagonal post stitches, then some waffle stitch, and then these big granny squares. So it's very, very wide. Like I said, it's as wide as a king size bed. And the yarn is super soft. I'm using that Lion Brand Jiffy yarn, and it's a bulky 5 weight yarn, and it's super soft. This is going to be like the blanket that I snuggle with. I just know it. I already know. Cheryl said, bring it on, and I got kind of carried away bringing all this stuff. Cindy says, Keith said come back to visit and we'll go to Fisherman's Wharf on the pier in Galveston. Awesome seafood and the drinks are not watered down. I would love to come back and visit, Cindy. That would be amazing. I would love to. I had such a great time. You guys were so awesome. You and Keith both were so, it made me feel so welcome. Made me feel like I was right at home. And, you know, you don't get that very often. It was really, really a good time. And my doors are always open too if you guys want to come to Michigan. You know, Michigan is a beautiful state in the summer. You don't want to come in the winter. No, 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 no. But Michigan is a gorgeous state in the summertime. And we have a very nice camper. You guys we could park the camper out by the pond. It could be just like, you know, your own personal little getaway. I mean, the camper, it's a nice new camper, you know, it has a queen size bed and TV and air conditioning and everything. Tammy loves kidding up too. I love kidding up. Lisa, you're doing the Warmth of Small Town Living. How's it going? I wanted that one so bad. I didn't get it though. How's it looking? How much do you have? Oh, Sean's telling me to keep chatting. She's trying to finish her Wizard of Oz so she can start her Lavelle and Pinson. Which one are you doing for Wizard of Oz? Are you doing the one, the Emerald City? I love that one. I wish I had that one. Yep, Jennifer, I'm the same. Hate kidding down, love kidding up. Oh no, don't tell Cheryl you haven't organized your drills yet. That's funny. Tammy, you won't. Tammy, you won't change your mind. You definitely won't. I loved, now it did take hours and hours and hours to kit up my J-wall with the 250 colors. It took literally hours, but I loved every minute of it. Super, I loved every minute of it. Joan Diamond Pinks. Yes. Yes, Paula. I have watched her. She's obsessed with containers and kitting up. I have, yeah. I've watched her. It is fun, Jody. Thanks. Yeah, the basket weave I think is my favorite part, Sean. Yeah, the Jiffy yarn, it's very soft and it's very fluffy and great, but it doesn't, if you have to frog, it does not frog easily. You don't want to make mistakes and have to frog because it's kind of sticky to itself and it's a little bit difficult to frog. So, but it is great. I love it, and I probably, because it's so wide of a blanket, I'm probably going to need more of it. And I don't know how long, it's a limited edition yarn. And I don't know how, is that only Joann's is carrying? You can't buy it directly from Lion Brand. So I think that I need to, when I get paid this month, hopefully they'll still have it. And I will be able to get some more so I can finish that blanket up and make it as, because I want to make it as long as I want it. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to stop it short. Want it to be a great big cuddler. Aw, thanks, Rhonda. You're a sweetheart. Aw, sure, you're a sweetheart too. Aw, Mary Lou, you're a sweetheart too. Oh, Gail, good idea. Ask Jeff to drive us in a wine tour. That's a real good idea. Lisa said it's huge and very little. What does that mean? What are you talking about? Did I miss something? Yeah, Kaden, you were saying you have the small town living. Are you gonna do that anytime soon? Tammy, that was my biggest part when I kitted up my J-Wall with the 250 colors, was trying to decide how I wanted to organize my symbols. Because what I did is I organized by kind of by color and then by like symbol. So I had like all my blues together, and then I had all blues that had arrows, all blues that had circles, all blues that had letters and numbers, all blue, and I kind of organized it. In my head, it made sense, but everybody thinks differently. So, your way of doing it is, of organizing it is going to be different, depending on the way your brain thinks compared to somebody else. Aw, Sean, thank you. That's so sweet. You just have the 4 characters left to finish. Cool. I love that painting. It's so cute. And it's such a like it evokes such good childhood memories. Because I remember my granddaughters were over and we watched The Wizard of Oz. They had never heard of The Wizard of Oz and they had never seen it. So it was on, I don't know, Netflix or Hulu, or it was on some streaming device. I don't remember which one it was. But I was telling my daughter that when I was a kid, The Wizard of Oz came on TV once a year. Okay? She was like, "What do you mean it came on once a year?" I'm like, "Well, when this was before VCRs, there was no VCRs, there was no cable TV, and they played The Wizard of Oz on the network once a year, and I remember it was a big event. Like, it was so exciting when the night that Wizard of Oz was going to be on, and we would have our friends would come over, and we'd make popcorn and watch Wizard of Oz, and it was a big deal when Wizard of Oz came on because we all loved it." She's like, "That's so weird that was like that in your lifetime." She's like, "Mom, you're really old." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And guess what else? We had to get up to change the channel too. There was no remote control. And then you remember the UHF, VHF? You had to switch between UHF and VHF. Some channels were UHF and some were VHF. Yep. Lisa says she hasn't put too many drills down yet. I'm catching up on work and housework. Ugh. Oh, yeah, that's right, your neck. Yes, similar, Rhonda, you're right. Just like with The Sound of Music and annual watching. Yup. Yep, Sean remembers. Yay. Aw, Caden, you love Back in My Day stories? Yes. Love Back in My Day stories. Or are you being sarcastic, Caden? Are you being sarcastic, or do you really love Back in My Day stories? What were we talking? Was it on Mindy's live, or I don't, or was it on my live? We were talking back in the day when you had to ride. Oh, that was last week on my live. You know, no seat belts and riding in the front seat, and no such thing as car seats. I remember my mom would, you know, when my sisters were born, you know, my dad was driving, my mom was sitting in the front seat just holding the baby. You know, smoking in the hospital, mom smoking in the car with the windows rolled up. I remember my mom smoking in the grocery store, and people would, and this is no joke, there were not ashtrays in the grocery store, so you would just put your cigarette down on the floor and stomp it out, and that's what everybody did. And I think about that now, how unsanitary that is. Just cigarette butts all over the floor of the grocery store. Of course, they had maintenance people that were always, you know, mopping up and stuff. So it wasn't like it wasn't filthy, but still. Mr. Innocent. Mary Lou was the antenna holder at her grandma's house. Oh, that was a very important job. A little to the left, Mary Lou. No, not that far. All right, turn, spin around just a little bit. Stop. Yep, Jody, exactly. As kids, you were the remote control. Oh, yes, and the TV guide. Yes. Oh, the TV guide, did that come out on Saturday? I think the TV guide came on Saturday. For us, it did. And yes, it was so fun. You would get the TV guide. We would fight over it, over who got to look at it first. And got to see what was going to be on for that week, what was going to be on TV for that week. And, you know, we'd plan out what we were going to watch. Yes, definitely. Yes, Kaden, we did. We rode dinosaurs. Horse and buggy back and forth to school, the whole deal. The whole deal. Oh, well, I'm glad you're healing, Lisa. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Oh, Jennifer, going to buy your mom cigarettes? Heck yeah. My mom used to send us to the store for cigarettes. Yup. Yup. Can I get 2 packs of Pall Mall Golds? That's what my mom smoked when we were kids, Pall Mall Golds. And they sold them to us. And like you said, we were, 8, 10 years old. Yeah. And then Mad Magazine. Does anybody remember Mad Magazine? That was when I was a kid. I loved Mad Magazine. So sometimes if we didn't feel like walking to the store, my mom would be like, "You can get a magazine," and that was all it took. Okay, we'll go. We'll go. And telephone calls from the payphone cost 10 cents. When I was a kid, they were 10 cents. Yep, Rhonda, if two shows came in the same time, were on at the same time, it was a fight at my house. If two shows somebody wanted to watch came on at the same time, we fought over it. I remember the first day MTV started. I remember my grandparents, they were one of the first in our family to get cable. And when MTV was going to start, everybody, all the cousins, we all went over to my grandma and grandpa's house to watch the first video on MTV. It was a momentous occasion. I remember when cable first started, I think the first cable I ever watched was HBO. Was the first cable that we had was HBO. And I remember my favorite show on HBO was Fraggle Rock. Did any of you guys watch Fraggle Rock? Loved Fraggle Rock. That was a great show. Oh, see, Jody, you guys did the Sears Christmas wish book. We did the JCPenney catalog. We always made our Christmas lists from the JCPenney catalog. Was the one we used. Bonnie, you used to hang out at the mall on Saturdays to answer the payphones when they rang. That's hilarious. Yes, hanging out at the mall was another biggie. Yep, everybody hung out at the mall. You know, times are changing so much, and with like internet buying and stuff like that, our mall in the city I live in is actually closing. They just can't keep enough stores in there. So they're actually closing down our mall. It's just kind of sad. Oh, Sean remembers Mad Magazine, and Bonnie. Bonnie's remember Mad Magazine. Jody remembers when her gran would send her to the store to get cigarettes. Oops. And bought cigarettes and a chocolate bar for her. Yup, exactly. Oh yeah, cigarette vending machines at the bowling alley and movie theaters. Definitely. Definitely. Teen Beat. Ooh, yeah. Heck yeah, Teen Beat. Yes, Bonnie, they called it home box office. Yep, you're right. Mary Lou said at her house they didn't have TV or indoor plumbing. I was so happy to get married. Oh my gosh. And got an indoor flusher. Nice. Yep, everybody remembers Fraggle Rock was awesome. Was awesome. Montgomery Ward. We didn't have a Montgomery Ward, Berta. So I remember I know people have talked about Montgomery Ward catalogs, but we didn't have a Montgomery Ward. Consumers distributors go in, pick items from a catalog, hand in paper, watch it come out on the conveyor. That sounds cool. We didn't have that. Oh yeah, Tammy, you could save stamps from your groceries and buy stuff. I remember that. My mom got a whole set of dishes from that, from grocery store stamps. I remember her collecting all these stamps, and I think that she was so pissed because she missed out on the gravy boat. She got this whole set of dishes, but somehow she didn't have enough stamps and she missed out, or they ran out and she missed out on the gravy boat. And she was so mad that she had this whole set of dishes minus a gravy boat. And for years, it bugged her. Like, because how often do you really use a gravy boat? We used it at Thanksgiving. That was it. But every year at Thanksgiving, she'd bitch about that damn gravy boat. I can't believe they'd do that. They put out this, if you can't get the full set, then they shouldn't have done it at all. I mean, she was salty about that missing gravy boat. It was crazy. Paula said, I remember a Saturday morning cartoon where he pressed a square sheet of plastic on the TV screen, and during the cartoon, and they told us to draw things like bridges so the character. I remember that, Paula. I remember that. I totally remember that. Yes. And then, oh, what else was I going to say? I just remembered something else from my childhood. Kate never answered when I asked if he was being sarcastic or serious about the I remember when stories. uh, holy crap, you guys, it's getting late. I'm going to get going. I have to pee really bad. And I've got to put, like I told you guys earlier, I have to set this table up and down to get in and out of here. So it would be a whole big mess to try to do that and come back to you. So I think I'll just let you guys go. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for so long tonight. I really appreciate it. I had a great time chit-chatting with you. And thank you guys for being so sweet and gracious about my situation. And I will get that stuff out as soon as I possibly can. So I love you all, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And I will see you in my next video, which should be tomorrow, if I remember to post it. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everybody.